Hello everyone, welcome to Pulse of the Week on NSG News Channel. My name is yours truly, Kofi Asante Mensah. On Pulse of the Week, we bring you major news headlines that occasion within the week, break it down for you to appreciate and make good meanings out of it. This week, it has been quite an eventful week, and I have a lot of headlines which I'll be analyzing with you if you stay with me. After this breather, I'll share with you details of this week. Welcome. Hello and welcome back. This is Pulse of the Week with your man, Kofi Asante Mensah. We start rather on a sad note where we recorded the demise of Ghana's legend musician, Daddy Lumba. We call him DL. Born Charles Kwadwo. He was 60, getting to almost 61. He passed on sadly. Daddy Lumba has trained a lot of musicians, recorded several of them. He has a lot of high life songs, hundreds of them, trained several musicians and recorded albums with them, featured on several songs, and Daddy Lumba is our legend. He's not only for Ghana, but for the international world. People compare him to Michael Jackson sometimes. They also do compare him to Bob Marley sometimes. We call him great legend. Let's enjoy a song from Daddy Lumba, DL. So welcome back. Still on Daddy Lumba, some celebrities, media personalities, TV and radio show hosts, some great personalities paid homage and went to the family house here in Accra to solidarize with the family and serve them with some words of condolence. Strengthen them. Please, let's watch this.
Mama unjeneze my farm rosanyezio eh watimikane ufame nyumni mumwa rosieza na makramu biana wa mibio mta mahumine umayenye diebe bia madofu Maba unjeneze my farm rosanyezio watimikane ufame nyumni mumwa rosieza yamuobia na makramu biana wa mibio afisa semo beniasiano akibiana mingawa mini mudi grana atelo me grana yene biana wa mibio
All right, so let's leave that lumber and move on to some accountability series. This week, the Attorney General came up to explain why he filed nolli prosequi in the Komlan Dufour case. I must say Komlan Dufour and 7 others. Let's watch the Attorney General explain the reasons behind why he filed nolli prosequi.
Of the previously reported exposure of 5.7 billion down to 3.3 billion, which comprise the following: the exclusion of 2.1 billion in the alleged fictitious amounts booked to the account of the shareholder who did not involve cash outflows. In other words, monies didn't go out to anybody. These were just book entries that were designed to make the books of Unibank look good. That is how come that in the criminal case, the charge of falsification of accounts was brought against them. So they did not loot the money. They did not give the money to anybody. They just made entries that were meant to give Bank of Ghana, the central bank, the impression that the bank was doing well. Okay? Then the exclusion of 0.3 billion relating to Unibank's placement with a SEC-regulated, SEC-regulated related company currently in receivership, which is being pursued separately through the insolvency proceedings. After prolonged negotiations, the accused persons, by a letter dated 7th May 2025, made a proposal to settle the revised outstanding obligation of 3.3 billion Ghana cedis through a structured approach. The accused persons offered to pay 2 billion Ghana cedis in full and final settlement of the outstanding obligations through the following arrangements: 800 million worth of assets to be transferred directly to Unibank, which is in receivership, which will now make that available to the Bank of Ghana. And then their active cooperation and participation to assist the receiver to recover an additional 1.2 billion from the direct beneficiaries paid out on their instructions. Out of the above arrangements, the accused persons have provided landed properties valued at 824 million Ghana cedis to Unibank. That is, in receivership. Further, in other words, indirectly to the Bank of Ghana or the Republic of Ghana. Further, the accused persons will be responsible for any shortfall in the proceeds realized from the sale of the landed properties. A total of 0.5 billion has to date been recovered out of the 1.2 billion being pursued from the direct beneficiaries. Recovery of the remaining balance of 0.7 billion out of the 1.2 billion Ghana cedis and the realization of the landed properties provided are expected to be completed over a timeline of 18 months. Although the preference would have been for me and my team for the accused person to settle the proposed amount in cash, immediate settlement in cash was not, from my sense of what transpired at the negotiations, a realistic possibility or a realistic option. In assessing the proposal submitted by the lawyers for the accused persons, I took into account the following factors. The receiver of Unibank acknowledged that the fictitious amounts totaling 2.1 billion did not result from cash outflows, but related to accounting entries that overstated the asset base of the bank, which predated Unibank's placement in official administration. B, a claim for the placement of 0.3 billion with the SEC-regulated entity was filed by the receiver with the official liquidator in 2019, and its recovery is being pursued separately through the insolvency process. 3, both the criminal and civil cases have persisted over 6 years with no immediate resolution in sight. The complex nature of the legal proceedings has significantly delayed any meaningful recovery. Now, come to think of it, those who instituted the criminal proceedings did not foresee the possibility down the line of recovering assets and never engage in any asset, recovery process. They did not trace, okay, to find out what assets were in the hands of third parties, including those who were in court. So while the criminal prosecution was intended to serve as a punitive and deterrent measure, it is through the civil process that actual recovery of funds is effectively pursued. The accused person's proposal fell within the receiver's mandate to maximize recoveries for Unibank in order to settle the bank's creditors, mainly Government of Ghana and some institutions. There is also a genuine risk that prolonged litigation could ultimately lead to lower net recovery, especially when accounting for legal costs, procedural delays, the time value of money, and the potential dissipation or concealment of assets. By contrast, the current arrangement secures the timely resolution or recovery of over 800 million Ghana cedis in assets and establishes a structured pathway for recovering an additional 1.2 billion Ghana cedis with the active cooperation of the accused persons. On the other hand, should the matter have continued in court, it would likely have faced prolonged delays, including multiple procedural applications, adjournments, and appeals. Even if judgment were eventually obtained in either the civil or criminal proceedings, enforcement and execution could take years, further deferring any meaningful recovery. It is clear from the foregoing that I took a pragmatic, holistic approach by engaging the receiver and the accused persons to broker a resolution that settles both the criminal and civil dimensions of the case. This strategy recognizes that while criminal proceedings are punitive, the real economic value to the state lies in a non-conviction-based asset recovery approach. The terms of the settlement are structured to ensure that the Attorney General, the Bank of Ghana, the Minister of Finance exercise oversight over the recovery of the negotiated amounts. Progress under the agreement will be subject to quarterly reviews to ensure that the accused persons fulfill their obligations as agreed. Ladies and gentlemen of the media and my fellow countrymen and women, it is important to correct certain misunderstandings or distortions, deliberate in some cases, that our team picked from the media space regarding this matter. Since my press release, it has been said that by setting a minimum threshold of 60% for the recovery of assets as a condition for filing a nolle prosequi or terminating the banking sector cases, I have cut a deal which permits persons who have stolen or looted public funds to walk away with 40% of the loot. At least that is the narrative, by some sections of, the Ghanaian populace, particularly from our opponents in the MPP who were responsible for all this mess. Indeed, one writer on Facebook compared my decision to the situation where someone has stolen 6 goods and is being told by the prosecutor to return 4 goods and keep the 2. But my fellow countrymen and women, now this may seem like a joke, but it's a very serious expression of the sense of justice of our community. And it is something that I have used, to, get people who have come to me for plea deals to get them to think about the community's sense of justice. So, it is not lost on me, and I wasn't surprised when I read this on Facebook. But the goat thief analogy, intriguing though it may be, is an oversimplification of the matter. This is why. First, Dr. Kobina Dufo and the other persons standing trial were not charged with stealing or looting of public funds. They were charged with causing financial loss to the state, fraudulent breach of trust, falsification of accounts, as I have pointed out earlier, dishonestly receiving, and money laundering. But the facts and the evidence supporting these charges never allege that those standing trial personally benefited from the banking transactions that gave rise to these charges. Now, it's important to make clear that when someone is charged with, for instance, causing financial loss to the state, all right, it does not imply from a criminal liability point of view that they took the resources that have been lost. In other words, what we seek to do when we charge someone with causing financial loss to the state is to prove that they either intentionally or recklessly or negligently cause the state to lose resources or to lose funds. All right? Now, those of you who are old enough to remember the Quality Grain case, which and went all the way to the Supreme Court, involving the former Deputy Minister of Finance, Victor Salome, and a number of NDC officials in the Rawlings regime. You'll remember that in that case, Justice Afre was at pains to point out that though the accused persons had been convicted of the offense of causing financial loss to the state, they had not been convicted of stealing. They had not been convicted of personally benefiting from the actions that were the subject matter of the criminal charges. All right? We must also understand that though the charge of fraudulent breach of trust is closely related to the charge of stealing. The facts and the evidence didn't show, okay, that in this particular case, they fraudulently breached their trust because they stood to benefit. Okay, they entered into transactions with third parties, okay, which pointed to the fact that according to the case that was filed, they were trustees of depositors' funds. Now, which in itself is legally contestable, right? Because the banker-customer relationship is not one of trusteeship. It is one of contract. Now, that is legally, established in case law. There are case law precedents to the effect that that relationship is not one of trusteeship. So when someone deposits their money in a bank, all right, they are not keeping the money, they are not giving the money to the bank to be held in trust. Okay? So that if that were the case, then the beneficiary would be the one dictating how the monies, should be used. But banks are at liberty, because it's a contractual relation, a commercial relationship, at liberty to lend the monies, do, banking transactions with those funds.
Now, let's go to the northern part of the country, all the way in Bawku. Bawku hasn't been at peace at all. This week, we witnessed some striking information where some gun-wielding men got into the Naralugu or Bawku Senior High School, shot dead 2 students. President John Dramani Mahama has said, we are moving from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. What does that really mean? Here is the president making the pronouncement.
There can be no progress without peace. And I wish to commend you for the peace that reigns in Gonjaland. It is my wish that other areas will learn from the peace that Gonja enjoys. So I take this occasion to appeal to our brothers and sisters, Kusasis and Mamprusis, to give peace a chance. We cannot accept this current situation where students are shot in school and killed. We can't accept the current situation where teachers, public officers have all run away from Bawku because they are afraid for their lives. And we have given the mediation efforts to Otumfuo, and he has briefed me constantly on the progress that he's been making. And we are almost there. And so the current fighting and killings can only be done by people who want to derail the mediation effort. And so let's give peace a chance. But as the army has announced, I have directed the army to move from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. That means they're going to be a bit more robust with anybody who is involved in criminality. And so let us give peace a chance, not only in Bawku, but in Nkwanta and all the other places where we currently are suffering conflict. Your Majesty, the values of unity, patriotism, and compassion are more urgent than ever. We must resist the forces of division and exclusion that undermine our shared heritage.
The Ghana Armed Forces deploys 400 military officers to the Boko enclave to ensure the enforcement of peace as outlined by the president.
Fire, I go fire you. Fire, make fire. Kill them all, kill them all. I wanna kill somebody. I wanna kill somebody. Kill them all, kill them all. I wanna kill somebody.
Professional Ghana Army and then the Ghana Armed Forces, with troops mobilized for training exercise. We just reviewed that training exercise to get the troops redeployed for this real operation to deal with the situation that has emerged at the Boku Jema area regarding the killings that we experienced over the weekend. This time around, we have marshaled enough of our forces from Southern Command, Central Command to join their colleagues in Northern Command, and we have enough formidable force to undertake whatever operations we have in Boko and any other area that we assess we need some.
Let's leave Boko and its insecurity and move to politics, where the opposition New Patriotic Party opens nominations for flag bearership aspirants. Very interestingly, the form goes for 100,000 Ghana cedis. And the filing fee is 500,000 Ghana cedis.
First and foremost, the presidential primaries shall be held on Saturday, January 31, 2026. And as I've indicated, nomination is open today, July 29, 2025, and shall close on Thursday, August 28, 2025. An aspiring presidential candidate can procure the nomination forms after the payment of a non-refundable application fee of 100,000 Ghana cedis. So the application fees is 100,000 Ghana cedis. And it must be done through a banker's draft issued in favor of the New Patriotic Party, National Headquarters, Accra. Again, an aspiring presidential candidate shall pay a non-refundable filing fee of 500,000 Ghana cedis. And the payment must also be done through a banker's draft issued in favor of the New Patriotic Party, National Headquarters, Accra. To successfully file your nomination, an aspirant is required to pay a compulsory development fee that will be determined by the National Council. And the forms can be procured from the General Secretary's office here at the party headquarters.
Joy News reporter and eyewitness assaulted as Ghana Airport Company Limited, GACL, reclaimed some 16 acres of airport lands from MacDan. The assault happened when a Joy News reporter was basically interviewing an eyewitness, and some military or some men clothed in military uniform sought to whip the eyewitness and attacked the journalist. The journalist was sent to Blue Gate, the National Security or the BNI Secretariat, and he was detained for some time until the Interior Minister made a call. Joy FM and Joy News Multimedia issued a statement, UPDN issued a statement, and the Ghana Journalists Association held a press conference led by its president. This is what they said.
Now this is our demand. Demands to the police, to the Ghana Police Service. And the demand is tagged as time for action. Time for action. The GJ hereby demands from the Ghana Police Service as follows. 1. A detailed update on the status of investigations into all reported attacks against journalists across the country within the past 7 months. 2. A public report on the prosecution of the police officer involved in the Ablekumanov incident, including timelines and court proceedings. 3. Clear disciplinary action and sanctions against officers or individuals who have assaulted journalists, whether in uniform or civilian attire. 4. Specific measures the police service is putting in place to prevent future attacks and to train officers on respecting press freedom and media rights. 5. The police should do the needful by writing or responding to our formal request. We have formally written to the police requesting a full investigative report on all assault cases, including but not limited to that of the Ablekumanov elections rerun. And we need that to be done. We expect these demands to be met within 7 days from the date of this statement. And I want to reiterate, I want to take this again. We expect these demands to be met within 7 days from the date of this statement. Failure to do so will leave us with no option but to advise all media outlets across the country and our members to boycott all police-related activities and declare them as enemies of press freedom. If the police fail to adhere to our directive, this is what we are going to do. We will boycott all police-related activities and we will declare them as enemies of press freedom in the country.
John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic, is not happy about the situation. He calls for investigation and says he is going to lead a dialogue or an engagement with security heads and the journalists of this country to have a amicable solution to the situation and see each other as partners in development.
Allow me to condemn in the strongest terms the recent incident involving the manhandling of some journalists by our security personnel. Such conduct is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. I've instructed that the incident be thoroughly investigated and that the officers involved be sanctioned accordingly. As a card-bearing member of the Ghana Journalists Association, I will not preside over a government that abuses or intimidates journalists in the lawful exercise of their duty. A free and responsible press is indispensable to our democracy, and we must all work to protect the media. I'll soon convene a meeting between the heads of the security services and the leadership of the GJA to plan a program to orient our troops to recognize the media not as enemies, but as partners in development.
The Electoral Commission is preparing for a by-election in Akwatia come 2nd of September 2025 as the New Patriotic Party acclaims its candidate. The NDC goes for primaries on August 4.
Over the years, wherever there's a by-elections, the NPP, we conduct ourselves democratically. But today,
that's Ayawaso West.
Well, the Ayawaso West, yeah. So you mean it should continue?
No, but I mean,
if that's what you're saying,
so it means that
if that's what you're saying, you means that it should continue. So it means that we should prepare for Akwatia. If that is what you are saying, the NPP will also prepare ourselves, arm ourselves, and get ready for Akwatia. And we'll repeat it. If that is what you are saying, as a journalist, I thought you were going to say it's bad, but you are referring me to
yes.
So the
NPP, see, you made a point. You made a point.
Telling our boys, we are telling our men, get ready, arm yourself, and prepare for Akwatia.
That's what you're telling them.
We will meet them in Akwatia if they repeat the same thing they repeated in Ablekumanov.
We'll wait for them. Thank you. The concern is that
this week, Chairman Adekoka goes home. The former Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the ruling National Democratic Congress goes home. Rest in peace, Chairman Adikoka.
Dearly beloved,
Professor Nana Etienne Kukwachima.
Now join me for all the analysis and the editorial. Please stay. Hi, welcome back to Pulse of the Week, and this is the analysis segment on Pulse of the Week with yours truly, Kofi Asante Mensah. Let's begin with ace broadcaster Paul Adom Ocho, because this week he was invited by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ejabe, invited Paul Adom Ocho. Paul Adom Ocho happens to be a broadcast journalist, and ace one, of course, a seasoned broadcast journalist working with Metropolitan Television, and also former board director for the Ghana Airport Company Limited. He was invited for questioning on some corruption and corruption-related offenses, some procurement breaches, and some contracts given to Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML. And that very company, Paul was invited, he paid homage, went with his lawyers, and I understand the former Attorney General Godfrey Dame was part of the legal team of Paul Adom Ocho. When they got to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, we understand they were interrogated for several hours, over 4 hours, and he was given bail. He wasn't able to meet the bail condition that stated that some 2 properties, landed properties, meaning either a land or something unmovable like a building in his name, should be given before he can be released on bail. He wasn't able to meet it. He says he has no property, landed property, I must say, in Ghana. But the issue is, are you sure Paul has no landed properties in Ghana? No, I am not sure. I'm so confident that he does. And he was just misleading the Office of the Special Prosecutor, in which itself is an offense. You can't deceive a public officer. So if investigations are done and findings are made that he has several landed properties in his name, Paul can be quizzed around that as well. But the good news is that he has been released. He is more or less a free man until the OSP needs him and calls upon him to come. If he has to travel, his lawyers tells us that he would have to formally or officially inform the Office of the Special Prosecutor before he can leave the shores of this country. Some are saying it's witch hunting, but for me, if any witch does something wrong, we must hunt for that witch and kill it, because we are resetting the country. Not just the term of the ruling National Democratic Congress, but I mean Ghana needs freedom and development. We need to move from a third world country to a second and to a first world country, where Singapore and South Korea and where other developed countries are. We can't be giving in and be defending corruption and corruption-related offenses, because these people are darling guys or girls. That's wrong. So if Paul has done something wrong, he should be held liable. Others are saying, I understand also the management board, the leader of the management board of the Ghana Airport Company Limited, of the special prosecutor pretty soon, and I'll bring you that very episode here on Pulse of the Week if she goes ahead to meet the special prosecutor for questioning. Paul, we wish you all the best. We are with you in the spirit, but if something goes wrong, my heart and mind is for Ghana. I am a broadcaster, he's a broadcaster, and we solidarize with you. But the big issue is that if there is something wrong, our interest is for Ghana, not friendship or not co-workers or not co-broadcast and media personnel. No, we have to reset the country and make sure Ghana works again. Let me get you some few tapes and videos that tells you about how Paul feels the morning before he will go to meet the special prosecutor. This is what he said in a video that's broadcasted in the morning. That is Good Evening Ghana special edition that was presented as on Good Morning Ghana show. So Good Evening Ghana on Good Morning Ghana show. This is what Paul said before he visited the office of the special prosecutor and got detained for some 24 hours before he was released.
The letter that the OSP sent. By the time they were doing the media stuff, this is the letter that they had sent to me, you know. And everybody started calling me that, look, Kisi wants you to come at 3 p.m. on Thursday. He will delay you so that there's no Good Evening Ghana. He will delay you overnight. And this is what he wants to do. And why does he want to do that? Because perhaps he has wind of some PDS petition that is going to him, blah, 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 that we are involved in. That's coming later. Okay, so now let's get to the substance of the letter. So what is the story about? What is the whole brouhaha story about? So in his letter, in the letter of the OSP, he says that... the original letter, he says that he's investigating some revenue assurance, something like that. Okay. In my interviews, I wondered why a board chairman is connected with something that has to do with procurement and all that, because under the Procurement Act, board chairman is not a part of it. The Procurement Act doesn't mention a board chairman anywhere. But anyway, this is Kisi Ajabe and the OSP, so no problem. All right. So he says he's investigating something related to revenue assurance audit service of a contract between some company, Evertex. December came and then election came, and then soon after election, we were out. By January, we had resigned. All of us had resigned. I didn't know they had signed the contract. Some 10 days ago, Manasseh Azuri called me that he's investigating this matter, and that is so. When the OSP came, then all the lawyers were wondering why are they working together. Manasseh Azuri is one of the people you've been talking about. Kisi Ajabe is one of the people you've been talking about. They seem to be working together for this, but I don't know, and it doesn't matter. Manasseh Azuri called me and said that what's the Evertex contract? I said, what is that? He said, Evertex, the people doing quality assurance. I said, the people who do the thing SML does. He said, yes. Then I said, I don't know about it. I don't know where it's gone to. Then it was Manasseh Azuri who told me that the contract had been signed by the managing director on 4th of December, 4 days or 3 days to election. And I said, well, okay, I don't know. I didn't know. This conversation is about 2 weeks ago. I didn't know whether the contract has been signed. I didn't find out whether the contract has been signed because it's not necessary. The board has finished its work. Whatever management does, if the management need the board again, they'll come back to the board.
Now, I want to talk about the Attorney General. Yes, Mr. Attorney General, please listen. John Dramani Mahama gave you a job. And I mean Ghanaians gave you a job. A job you promised when you were in opposition ahead of the 2024 election that you would recover loot. You would recover all loot. You can't be singing the songs of Operation Recover All Loot, and when you come to power after some 6 or 7 months, you take 60% of the loot and you leave 40% out. That's uncalled for. What's the meaning of nolli prosequi? Meaning we don't want to pursue it. We have no case. We don't want to pursue it. We have heard all the explanation. But the key thing is that you can't set the agenda or sit in your own court and be a judge in your own court and deliver a case in your own court, your own case, you as a judge, and deliver a judgment. No. What was the parameter, or what were the parameters set aside, you and your team, to set the tone for a 60% recoup? What went into it? All the explanation you have given does not suffice with me at all. And I think we have to come after you. We have to push you to get 100% of what former Finance Minister Kwabena Duffuor looted. 100% of what he looted. You are aware that the Office of the Special Prosecutor is looking for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta on several allegations and several cases, including SML. So many of them, so many cases. And he's nowhere to be found. And he is nowhere to be found. If Kwabena Duffuor is here and he agrees to pay back the money, please, let's take all the money, not 60% of the money. And for us here at NSG News and Focus, Pulse of the Week, we don't give in to this 60% recoup. 100% is appropriate. Whatever terms and conditions he gave, we need our 100% from Dr. Kwabena Duffuor. I want to talk about Bawku. You MPP. You are playing politics with the Bawku. Yes, because John Dramani Mahama said it is only when MPP is in power that Bawku issues, when NDC is in power, there are no Bawku issues. But when MPP is in power, there are Bawku issues. So obviously, when MPP got to power, January 7, all the things you would have to do to make sure that there are issues and insecurity, there's no peace in Bawku, you will do it. And that's what we are seeing now. And Mama Yariga, the majority leader, said it right in Parliament, that before NPP in the 90s, there was peace in Bawku. He said it clear, and that's true. Before NPP came to power in 2000, there was peace, absolute peace in Bawku. NDC and MPP, we need Bawku to be peaceful. People should go to school, nurses should go to work, and all professionals should be able to go to work and come back home safely. Why should gun-wielding men go to Bawku SHS, go and shoot students and kill them? Burn houses, because we think you politicians, you are behind it. NPP and NDC, you are behind it. And you know yourselves, we need peace in Bawku. And I support the call made by the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, John Dramani Mahama, when he says, we are moving away from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. Please, I'm encouraging the military, the 400 additional military officers sent to Bawku. I know you have arrived. Please, enforce the peace. Enforce it. You are able to do it. You travel for peacekeeping and peace enforcement around the world. And you know what it takes to ensure that there is peace or to enforce peace in Bawku. Yes, let's intensify the curfew. Let's have 1 hour or 2 hours patrol within the day and night. Let's patrol. We will not give in to you, NPP and NDC. There should be absolute peace in Boko. And I support John Dramani Mahama's, the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, call for peace enforcement rather than peacekeeping. And the Ghana Armed Forces deployment of some 400 additional men to Boko. I know they have arrived. Please, whatever it will take for you, and I know you are capable, to enforce peace in Boko, please do. Because we need absolute peace in Boko. We can't be here and be hearing and seeing people, gun-wielding people, get into a secondary school and gun down students. That's uncalled for. Now, the school has been shut down. The exams rescheduled. And WAEC would have to make another arrangement for Boko Senior High School to rewrite or write the exams. That's not good. NPP and NDC, please, we need absolute peace in Boko. We need absolute peace in Boko. Let me talk about this exorbitant fee by the opposition NPP. Non-refundable payment of 100,000 forms fee, nomination form fee, and 500,000 filing fee. What is that? NPP. Of course, Bawumia can pay, Kennedy Agyapong can pay, Brian can pay, almost everybody can pay. Yes. The same day you announced the opening of nomination forms, Kwabena Agyapong also expressed interest to pick his form or to run again. And I know there are several people who would want to be a part of this flag bearership race. But the money is too high. When I've forgotten the year, but NDC kept their own around 420,000. We all criticized and lambasted them for that exorbitant fee charge. And here we are, NPP, with the form and the filing fee. One is to pay 600,000. Of course, it is good if you want to be president of this republic. I'm not sure 600,000 is anything to go by, but for democracy and to open it up for people to willingly be a part of it, I think this amount is too much. I think members of the New Patriotic Party, the National Executive, and the National Council should do something about this. Yes, should do something about it. It's important to note that the budget and the mid-year review budget debate has been finalized. But one key thing for us to note is reasons the New Patriotic Party minority in Parliament gave when they staged yet another walkout in Parliament. They said once the minority leader, the majority leader have wrapped up their debate, the finance minister, who yielded to the deputy finance minister, Thomas Ampem Nyakon, member of parliament for Esojamine constituency. He should have gone ahead to thank honorable members, but not to make commentary and sought to correct and criticize the debate, meaning he want to debate, whilst they have finished the debate. So if the first deputy speaker is given in for the deputy finance minister to make comments and sought to debate, then they are out of the chamber. But you see, it's correct. It's right. But how many walkouts have you done, minority, since the start of Parliament? If I could remember, it's getting to 5 already, and it could be more than that. And that's not right. So how many walkouts would you do for the next 3.5 years, or for all the 4 years? Yes, because the NDC, in as much as I think they need the minority, they have 2/3 of Parliament. So you are going to boycott and stage walkouts until when? Sometimes you have to stay and let us know your position. Let us hear your voice. The minority will have their say, but the majority would have their way. This time they have a big way, 2/3 majority. Stay for the interest of the Republic. Point it out. Let them know that they are breaching proceedings of Parliament, and that is not how it should go. But stay and point it out. Let Ghanaians know that you have the nation at heart. But don't be staging walkout and be going out like that. We pay you, yes, to go and do our business. Stop staging walkout. But to the other side, Honorable Ampem Nyakon, why should you introduce session of debate in your thank you message? Just thank the people, thank the honorable members, and get out of here. Why? You have been in Parliament for quite some time. Of course, it's your first time being Deputy Finance Minister. And you should be briefed. You should know. I'm sure you are aware. But for the sake of politics, you want to correct some impressions, some figures, and da. Come on. That wasn't right. Nonetheless, the media review budget has been debated and finalized, and that's a good news. I have 2 subjects to talk about, and I'm out of here. First, press freedom. Press freedom. Before we will end the 6th month, and even the 7th month, we have run more than the numbers we get for every year. So annually, about 10, 11 assaults, press assaults in Ghana. Annually, 12 months. We are half of the year, or 7th month of the year, and within the 8th month of the year, we have recorded 12 already. Per my checks, it's even 13 already. People who belong to the 4th arm of the realm, the 4th estate, the media, being slapped, being assaulted, kicked here and there. And most of them are politically related people. And most of them are with security personnel. Why do you do that? So, if the first arm of government, the first estate of the realm, the executive, if somebody does something unprofessional among the executive, I mean the presidency, would you have the nerves to go and slap and boot and assault persons who work at the executive? How about the legislature, parliament? Would you slap and boot and kick people there and you go free? How about the judiciary, the judges? Would you go to any courtroom and go and slap and kick people and you go free? Why do you get to the fourth arm of the estate? Kick and boot people, slap and assault people. And you think you are security, you are military, you are police, you are politically motivated persons, people who work for politicians, bodyguards who work for politicians. So you can just be doing that. And I stand by the Ghana Journalists Association's president's comments. We have given you 7 days, Ghana police, all assault from January till now, August. 7 days to give us a report on all assault, including the Ablekuma and the Magdan, the airport one, the military things they did over there. The Joy News one. Report. If by 7 days' time we do not get the report, he has already told you, and he told you that it wasn't a threat, but you should take it as a threat because it is. And we will make sure he complies with that threat. We will blacklist the police and all events police related. The media will never cover you. And now you have police TV, so you can go around and report on your police TV. And that's why you are beating journalists. At the Ablekuma, a police officer slapped a journalist. All we heard was he has been interdicted. Just that, interdicted. We won't give room for that. We will defend media freedom. And I commended the president, who says he's a card-bearer member of the Ghana Journalists Association. He pays his dues, and he will not allow this to continue. And I commend him for stating that he will call upon security chiefs and security couples, heads of securities, to meet heads of the media institutions and leadership of media organizations in Ghana and media associations to talk about reasons why we should respect each other. The police and the military and the national security disrespect media, and like the president said, we will declare you as enemies of press freedom. Why do you do that? When you slap a journalist, what do you get? One assault on one journalist is an assault on all journalists everywhere, and will come after you. No, we mean it. So we give you 7 days to give us that report. And the Albert Jumfuo-led GJA will never back down. Of course, I lead as president for the United Press for Development Network, a passionate press freedom advocate and media development advocate, and will never back down. And this is a clarion call, 7 days to the Ghana Police Service, led by IGP Yohonu. Mr. Yohonu, please do the honorable thing. Now let's talk finally about Akwatia. We are going for Akwatia. You have heard all the heat, the NPP saying they will protect themselves, and the NDC saying if you have done something wrong in the erstwhile administration, when you come to Akwatia, we will arrest you. What's wrong? If somebody has done something wrong, would you have to wait till he or she comes to Akwatia before you arrest him or her? That's wrong. That's totally wrong. How can you leave power within 6-7 months and threaten that the police is not doing its work well? The Ghana Police Service, not NDC Police Service, not MPP Police Service. They are not doing their work well. And you will protect yourself. What type of protection would you protect that will supersede the power of the state? The MPP should tell us. And Nana B should tell us. What protection can you protect yourself that power would supersede the state? Please, NDC and MPP, we need peace and absolute peace in Akwatia. We know you are on the grounds already. You have acclaimed your candidate. You are going for primaries. You pick one person out of the 3 people. That's fine. Please, go to that election on the 2nd of September with peace in mind and peace at heart. Because we are not ready to turn Akwatia bloody. People of Akwatia, please, anyone who mongs for war, warmongering, do not vote for people who comes with violent talks and warmonger around. We need peace. The gentleman who has passed on was a peaceful man, a very noble and gentleman. And so, should we have an election that exemplifies his integrity and nobility? A very noble man. Please, let's have a good replacement, somebody who can bring development. Because life in Akwatia is about bread and butter. People who can bring development. That's all I'll say. And not people who will scaremongering and be shouting, and at the end of 8 years or 4 years, they won't bring anything to your doorsteps. Look at your roads. Look at your roads. Akwatia, look at your roads. Look at your water system. Akwatia, a mining community. Less infrastructure. Look at your hospitals. What food do you eat? Are you able to put food 3 times on the dining table? Please, let bread and butter, development, inform this very bar election. And don't give in. I know Akwatia is a swing seat. It can go NPP, it can go NDC. But the key thing I would wish for the people of Akwatia, and I would ask of you, first is peace. Go vote and elect your member of parliament in peace. But before you do that, search between the 2, NPP and NDC, the person who can truly, person with integrity, who can truly, persons who have track records, who can truly bring development to Akwatia. Because that's all we need. All right, thank you very much. And this has been the episode for this very week. We brought you the news, we analyzed it, and we gave you our version, the editorial part of the news. My name is yours truly, Kofi Asante Mensah. Thank you very much for being there for us. And this has been Pulse of the Week on NSG News Channel. Thank you very much, the production team, and thank you very much to all our crew. And thank you for watching. It's a goodbye for now.